Alright guys, today we have another Iron Blooded Orphans HG Gundam review. And this time it is the Gundam Kimaris. And also the option set 4 kit, which comes with a lot of cool stuff just for Kimaris. We'll go ahead and look at the little box first just because it's easy. Bandai, obviously, good stuff. It's got the booster pack there, an option worker, and a sword. These things I'm not going to be showing off this time, but I do have them kind of laying around extra. We just really wanted to get this cool booster here. But, I mean, there's not much to this. That's option set 4. Shows you, here's how the boosters mount there. They can pose. Here's a Graze with this cool sword, which it is a cool sword. I just kind of have it kind of floating about, like I said. And then you got the little mobile worker there. Nothing big. A little read up here about the mobile worker and stuff like that. Don't stick this in your face. It could probably kill you. There's number 8 right there. Don't know why. It's made of these kind of plastics. Please recycle. And this is about 600 yen, or about $6. We don't really care about that much. We're going to set that aside for right now. We'll go back to the main box as it is. This thing is a big and pretty elegant Gundam mobile suit. This thing is just it's so different. That's one thing I really like about the Gundams in IBO. They're just very, very different from each other. They all have different custom touches, very different designs, even though they're all based off the same basic frame. And here we got a great shot of the Kimaris, which I kind of have dubbed the cat owl. Because if you look at this face, there's something about it that's very feline, but also very much like an owl at the same time. And you see it here. You got the great colony back here in the back. Same thing down here. This huge lance, which is like its primary weapon. I mean, of course, yeah, it's a Bandai product because that's what we buy, because Bandai is our lord and savior of awesome plastic model kits. You got the Iron Blooded Orphans banner over here, the HD Iron Blooded Orphans line. It says down here, Gundam Kimaris. You got a little shite? Pardon me for that, guys. A shot of Galileo right there. Galileo, however you want to say his name. It's a really funny name. He's got purple hair and he flies a purple-ish mobile suit. His name is Galileo. So come down here to the bottom of the box. Great shot of that enormous lance. Action. It says action, guys. It has action in it. And a little Japanese read up, but once again, I'm not in Japanese, so I don't know what it says. I think this is gimmicks, probably. It's showing little shoulder risers there. We'll talk about those later. Come here, it obviously shows off the armpit, because it really wants you to know how its armpit functions. And little details about the back, I'm guessing, is what that's showing. You got another great shot of it flying there. And it does have a gimmick in the bottom of the feet. We'll talk about it later, but that's kind of what it do. And you got a little bitty folding dagger there that comes up later. And once again, it's showing off that gimmick. We'll go into depth about it later. And then here it is, where a display options. It's got Kimaris fighting the fourth form of Barbatos there. Yeah. So, because that's kind of about where he came about in the series, when this version of Barbatos existed, and then he finally ran into, I don't say another Gundam, because they ran into Gujin before that, but this is the first like very Gundam-y Gundam, and you'll see why later. And then you come over here, HG Iron Blooded Orphans. This is number 11 in the series. We're sort of trying to keep it in order here, guys. We got BandaiHobby.net as usual. Go check it out. They have cool kinds of stuff. And then Gundam Info. Then you got Bandai, because Bandai is small. Good front and rear shot of Kimaris. Just looking grand. I don't really have another real word for it. It's a very grand and elegant Gundam, whereas Barbatos is very thrown together. And you got a read up here on Galileo, and probably have Kimaris there. And he is one of the second in command over there, Gjillarhorn, second only to McGillis. So that's his little sidekick. And once again, we get another progression of the story there. You see Barbatos using his giant rifle. And actually, this is an older image where he's still got the blue shoulders and the little armor there. And then you get gtaketsu.com. Go check that out. Yeah, be careful. Don't put anything in here in your face. This probably says nobody under 3 should probably handle this in any way, shape, or form. And then you got the different types of plastics that are in here. That's pretty neat. Make sure you recycle, guys. And this was also about 500 yen, so about $12. So like I said, they get progressively more expensive. They're still cheap, realistically. Oh, here we go. Illustration is by Koma, this go around. And the background image is also by Saito Yoshinobu. He's actually really good, or she. Could be he or she. But unfortunately, your lovely work is upside down. But it's so good. Let's go ahead and open up the Kimaris. And once again, it's already built, guys, because I built this one a few months ago. But well, let's go look at this elegant thing. And basically, we're here to look at how big the lance is, aren't we? Alright, guys. Now we have Kimaris out of its box. And, well, basically looking like a cat owl with a big lance. Because that's what it is. It is a purple cat owl with some wings and a big pointy stick. Now, while I do like this kit, it's probably my least favorite out of the Gundams. I don't know if it's just because it's an antagonist and it just bothers me, or maybe just something about the design. I'm just not quite into it. That being said, it is still pretty cool because they really kind of went out of their way to make sure that all of these Gundams, as individual as they are still very, very cool. And this one is kind of loaded down with gimmicks. It's really surprising what they managed to cram into a little HG kit. Let's go ahead and pull this guy off of here. We'll take a closer look. And as usual, I have some Gundam custom paint work done to this guy. So get a close-up of the face if we can. You can see why I say it looks like a cat owl. So it's got very feline-looking eyes, but with the V-fin the way it is, it looks kind of like an owl. And then, of course, its head can go. This one actually has the ability to turn its head all the way around. Because its collar is not actually in the way like, well, everything else tends to be. Now this one, it has a very, very similar inner frame to the Barbatos. That's a thing of the series. All the Gundams were made at the same time, had the same basic inner frame. Even technically Gujin did, but you couldn't find it underneath all the giant green armor. We can go around. Let's look at some of the detail work here, because I did do quite a bit. In here, these chest vents, while they probably should have stayed the same color, I just painted them with this nice metallic purple just to make them stand out just a little bit. You can actually see, see if I can get some light in there. Right in there, the hydraulics, I did a little bit of silver, gray, and some copper in there just to make it, pop a little bit. Right here, in these dark purple metallic, these are supposed to be stickers. I'll show that off in a second. There's a bunch of stickers that's supposed to go on this guy. I really didn't want to use any of them, to be perfectly honest. And coming here on the arms, and because I don't know, I love this copper, I went ahead, painted all these like inner little details copper on this guy. I think it stands out against the purple, but not too bad. And these triangles right here on the shoulder, those are also supposed to be stickers, so I tried to color match as close as I could with the Gundam marker. And actually this purple part right here, right below what actually looks like an A, I never even realized that, that's actually supposed to be a sticker. Painted that as well. Now the stickers I did use were the eyes, and right in there, what I guess is supposed to be a camera. It's really, really hard to see. There's a yellow sticker there. And of course on the back of the head, you do see that camera sticker there. But we'll keep looking at some more of the details. Let's see what I can actually see right in here. Oh, it's getting in its own way. Right there. Some more copper details just to break it up, because I did a lot of silver on Barbatos to break it up against that dark gray copper in there in the thruster. Back here in the back, if you can really see. Let me get this little weapon here. Nice little weapon storage in the back. You can see right in there, if it'll focus. Get some light up in there. The spine. I really love the spine on these things. You almost can't see it, but it's in there. Also highlighted that with some copper paint. This thing had a lot of panel lining. So all the back here on the butt armor, which people said is very insect-like. And when we get to the other version of Kimaris down the line, you see where the insect stuff really comes out. You get these kind of leg thrusters here. I didn't do copper, I just shaded inside there. And then all the panel lining around here on the leg armor. It's got some pretty hefty legs. It did not skip leg day, or it's just wearing its leg warmers as best it can. I'm poked in the eye with the lance there, guys. I'm sorry. So that's Kimaris as it is. I'm going to go ahead and take off the giant lance. Set it aside for the time being. and we'll talk about this guy's articulation. I did already show off. The head can go all the way around. It's a standard double ball joint HG head. The neck, actually, because this thing can actually have room for itself, it can move pretty good. He can look down on you because, well, frankly, he does. He's a very conceited, high-ranking rich person from Earth. So, and this being his family's his family's Gundam from 300 years ago, he does tend to look down on other people. Now, I've come back over here, going back to articulation, because that's what we were talking about. It has the same Gundam articulation where you get the ball joint that swivels up here, and then you can reach pretty far up. His shoulder armor gets in the way, though, so you can only get up about that far. But if you turn it, you can kind of do that. Now this... Oh, I'm stuck with its own arm here. The shoulder armor itself can pivot about this far. Very similar how it pegs in right back here. I think, see, can't quite there. Pegs in right back there on the shoulder joint, just like Barbatos does. And then, of course, back here, this little wingy thruster bit can move around a little. I think at some point it's supposed to have something under there, but this version doesn't. But it's pretty neat. And you get the same kind of pivot point up in here. Mine's really loose for some reason. I guess the clamp, the way the spine goes together, it's just really loose. I can't do anything about it at this point. The same thing down here. The waist articulation is actually really loose. But this guy can do a full 360 all the way around. He doesn't have any extraneous armor kind of in the way, and that's a good thing. And then you get the nice little side skirts. These are very, very, individual. Like, this thing doesn't really take a whole lot of outer parts from its siblings. So you got the same kind of hinge here, pivot point here. You got the same type of skirt flaps as usual, and this one I did cut. Come here, you got the same leg hinge there. Can go out and can do the full splits as usual. And then you get the, hold on, everybody's kind of binding here. Alright, so you get your upper thigh swivel there. And it does it quite have, yeah, it has the double jointed knee, but you can see how much I had to work it. So joint up here, and it's very different leg wise after this because it does have this nice little gimmick on the feet, which will show up here in a second. But it does have very similar feet to the Barbatos, where it's a ball joint up here, and then it has the pivot point right in there. But because of the way the leg armor is, you can't quite get full range out of it as you can with Barbatos. But it is pretty cool nonetheless. Yeah, let's go ahead and show off this weird leg gimmick. So because it has like a booster mode, it can actually split open the legs here, and then you've got little bitty thrusteries inside here. And then it just kind of folds the foot up like that. I know, it's not major, but because he already has big thrusters on the outside of the leg armor, I don't know why this is a necessary thing. Oops, that's actually trying to fall off. That's not good. So this is him in like thrustery mode. Let's set him here. If I can find the crotch peg. It's hard to do when I can't see what I'm doing. Alright, that's annoying. You get on your crotch. That's a weird thing to say. Alright, so now he's in hover mode, thruster mode. We'll go ahead and talk about accessories, because this guy has a few. Unlike the other ones, he doesn't necessarily have any guns, but he does have a nice little blade. Not a whole lot of detail to it. That's why I added just that little copper spot, just for fun. It's a little folding blade. You saw it earlier when I took it off the backpack. Spin this guy around. I guess it wasn't on the backpack, it was on the butt. But, it just pegs in just like this. And he does use it a little bit throughout the series. And in fact, there's another Gundam down the line who has a very similar weapon, but on a much larger scale. We'll look at that guy here in probably a week or so. But let's talk about his main weapon because, good God. This lance is absolutely ridiculous. Like, this is probably one of the biggest weapons in IBO. Like, the biggest single weapon that has only one purpose. I mean, it's a giant lance. Actually, it's very swordfish-like, and I'm sure that's on purpose, because it is very, very pointy. Like, you could possibly put an eye out if you really tried. And then, of course, it has a little bitty, like, what's the word? Vulcan guns kind of tapped in there, so it can shoot. So it can really run you through and then shoot you. And then back here, I don't remember if this was supposed to be a thruster or not, or if it has anything to help it tag in, but this thing is essentially only like 3 or 4 pieces, I guess. So these little purple pieces snap on, and you saw me just fixing that a minute ago. So upper, lower pieces snap together, and it does come apart so you can put it in the hand. That's not how it's supposed to come apart. This thing's acting funny on me today, guys. I swear. Ugh. Okay, so that comes apart there. So much like the Gujin hammer, it can just split up. And why does the hand not want to move today? What is going on with me? It can just split the hands. Oh, that's the problem. For once, it's a peg. I totally forgot about that. Look, that's actually a peg. I'm dumb. Hey, it's been a while. This poor guy has been in his box up until this point for like the last few months while we were moving. So there's his big weapon, and he does have his standard hands. But of course, actually, I don't want to say it's totally a standard hand because that backing plate has that spot just for that peg to go into. I'm going to go ahead and stick his hand on here. We'll talk about the other accessory that we're here to see. But for that, we're going to have to flip this guy around again. Now you can see the normal little thruster pack back here. That's coming off because it's just a little bitty guy like that. And then all Gundams, the actual Gundams from the series, have this same back and spine. And then actually there, because now that's off, you can see some of the other details I pointed. But yeah, they always have the same back, same spine, so you can actually add accessories to the back. And we will talk about that here. The reason why those feet boosters happen is because of this giant booster pack. This is ridiculous, guys. I'm going to go ahead and hopefully get that guy on his peg again. Just for a second. Just hang there for a second, Barbatos. I'm going to talk about your backpack. This thing is a huge booster pack. If I remember correctly in this series, the first time Kimaris shows up, he didn't have this backpack. So he shows up later on when they get to Earth like this. Spoiler warning. And this is just, it's pretty cool. I mean, it came in the option set 4, which really didn't come with a whole lot. This was basically the only reason to get it, unless you really love collecting those little mobile workers. And you can see it can articulate like this. I don't know why you need them to split, but you can. And it has thrusters. Many thrusters. Okay, it's got a few. So got one here. Of course, I stuck with the copper idea. Same thing here. And then there. And then I don't think these are technically thrusters, but vents right in there. I can't. Kimaris is in the way of its own review. Now, each one of these does articulate on its own on a ball joint. And then, of course, you see just a little bit more copper in there just to break up all the crap. And yeah, I admit I got a little lazy in some of this painting, so there's some pretty bad splashes. Painted some dark gray on there, some dark gray on what I guess are intake vents, some dark gray right there just to make that not just be tons of purple. To be perfectly honest. Let's go ahead and I'll stick this on his like so. And it will make him very back heavy. See? Very back heavy. It just wants to... That would be the problem with that spine. It's a little bit loose for some reason. It's probably loose because I pulled that backpack off, if I'm honest. And it makes him just that much more intimidating. Now the Kimaris, when they first got to it, it really did beat down the Barbatos, like, pretty bad. There's that peg. In fact, this very large weapon right here did some pretty bad damage. So, oh, yeah, let's go ahead and point this out. Talk about those details where I replace things. These are supposed to be stickers. All of this up here, you can see it's this nice metallic purple. Those are all supposed to be wraparound stickers. And in fact, I held on to the sticker sheet so you could see this. These right here were supposed to wrap all the way around up here. So this is what that's supposed to go around. And then those end pieces there, along with these extra little bits. All of this was only for just this booster pack. That's all these stickers were for. I didn't use any of them because I didn't want to do it. They weren't going to look good. I mean, the metallic purple isn't bad. It's not what it's supposed to be. And then, of course, I have these stickers somewhere else. I'm not even worried about it. So, I totally forgot about its other gimmick. And they did show this off in the series, but it's really hard to do in this form. It has... If I can... Okay, I'm just going to pull the one up. It has two of these. They are pizza shooters. Or shuriken shooters, realistically. So in the series, they pop up, and he shoots little blades out of that. It messes up everyone today. Now, it does, in fact, come with very tiny blades. They're right in there. I'm not about to try to get that out of there. They're so small, but they are in there. And then they just, you kind of have to fight them, but they do pop out. Okay, Kimaris, just look intimidating, all right? Now, let's go ahead and we'll give him his lance back for a second. This review is already going on kind of long, but that's what happens. Big old lance. Get this guy ready to join his friends on the display. Big old Lancey Lance. That's actually probably going to help some of that back heaviness by putting that lance there. Go ahead and stick it this forward. So he's looking very, very intimidating, as Kimaris do. Of course, that thing is so heavy, he doesn't hold it up very well. Alright, guys, so what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and add this to the rest of the IBO stand. Wait just a second for that. Here we are with the IBO display that I'm throwing together, guys. And we will take our new friend, Kimaris. And I think he was right here. I remember he was basically all on his own right there in that area. And honestly, didn't have to really fight to get him in there. So we come over here, you can really see this guy in all his glory. And because he's, I kind of separated it out, good guys, bad guys for the most part. So pretty much all the bad guys are going to go on this side, all the good guys are going to go on this side. But that's what we're doing so far. That is what the display looks like. And it's kind of fun assembling this for you guys, letting you see how it goes. But as usual, it will probably be finagled here and there to make things fit a little bit better over time. But that's it for this time, and the Kimaris with the booster pack. So guys, remember to like and subscribe. Check out all the other videos, the Gunpla reviews, the Shoky quickies, the quick little nerd reviews. And we will continue with the IBO line as we go. Make sure you remember to just keep on building, guys. See you later.